Hello guys, Wolfman Sam here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today, I'm going to be experimenting with something I like to call movies in a nutshell. And these are going to be weekly installments, specifically on YouTube. Sorry, my guys on Twitch. Sorry, my guys on Kick. If I plan to figure out how to either stream or or place them on those platforms, I will. But these are just going to be small weekly videos on Wednesday where I'm going to be just basically talking about my favorite movies. And today's movie is going to be the 1974 Black Christmas. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, this is probably one of the most darkest Christmas movies and slasher movies of the 70s. It was directed by Bob Clark of Christmas Story fame. And for a guy that basically went on to do probably the most lighthearted Christmas movie, this movie prior is just a dark and uncomfortable, unfeeling, vulgar type movie. And it has some notable stars. The English actress, excuse me, I can't place her name, but she plays our main character, Jess. She went on to do American Psycho, one of the Psycho movies. I'm going to place her name in post here, but she's one of our main characters, as is Superman, the original Superman's Margot Kidder. And we follow basically a psychopath that enters into a sorority home, and the girls themselves in this sorority home are probably the most vulgar, or at least one of them, played by Margot Kidder, is probably the most vulgar type person you can think of. And it just has that vibe all throughout. All throughout this uncomfortable, unfeeling, cold type of vibe. For sure. But I'm going to get into the spoiler section right here, so hopefully you guys have watched it hopefully you guys have watched the film. We're going to be getting into the spoiler territory. But basically what happens is we have a psychopath that slowly by degrees just knocks off the girls at the sorority one by one. And not only that, but we have a very uncomfortable abortion subplot that does tie in to our psychopath. And the boyfriend of the main character, Peter, we're kind of convinced for just until the end of the movie that it is him. And the sheriff of the town is tracing the calls, trying to figure out, because the killer is doing these obscene, schizophrenic phone calls, and he says something to the effect of kind of tying into knowing about the main character Jess' abortion, sort of the same thing that Peter said during the argument with Jess, and Peter calls Jess up at one point, and all distraught, all kind of a mess, telling Jess, please don't kill the baby. And the sheriff and the police have traced the call, and they've asked Jess. They said, "What was that about?" And like I said, for a while, we're convinced that it is Peter until the very end, where Peter is actually killed. And Jess is the one lone survivor. And for a while, we think it's all over, and we get a very quiet and disturbing shot of the body that is literally wrapped up in the attic. And then we hear the phone ring, and it's Billy, and Billy is still out there. Billy the killer. Which just a little background. The only thing we find out about Billy at this point is that he may or may not have killed his kid sister, and that may have drove him somewhat insane. We never are quite sure, and that's the most eerie thing about it, And that's why it's one of my favorite slasher films that I watch every Christmas. Is there's just something uncomfortable and eerie and spine tingling that's all its own. That even slasher films from before or after haven't really ever touched. Just the vibe of this film for sure, and that's why you could remake it as much as you want, but I don't think you could ever catch that same vibe. Um, but with that said, thank you guys for joining me. I've been Wolfman Sam, and I hopefully I'll see you guys next time.